Nigel Farage has been caught backtracking on his campaign for Donald Trump. Labour activists have been all set to go to America to help Kamala Harris in the American election. I don't really know much about what's going on, if I'm honest, but what I can gather is if they're doing it on a private, personal thing, then it's okay. It's not a problem, and the Conservatives and the Labour activists have been doing this for years. So as long as it's not an official Labour-sanctioned event, then it can't be classed as electoral interference. But I have to admit it doesn't look good. But then Labour haven't had the greatest PR since coming to office anyway. But Donald Trump has put in a complaint saying that the Labour Party are interfering in the American elections. Therefore, everybody else is jumping on the bandwagon and using it as a political stick to beat them with, whilst just ignoring their own hypocrisy. So, for example, Chris Philp in the House of Commons today tried to use it as a political scoring point, but was shot down when he pointed out that the former Prime Minister and still current party member Liz Truss had been going over to make speeches and supporting Trump. And of course, Nigel Farage has been making political hay out of this too, absolutely condemning Labour for supporting his friend Donald Trump's rival. However, as always with Nigel Farage, what he says and what he does is two different things. Yesterday, he was conveniently unable to hear the question put to him by Chris Bryant, saying that he was paid to go over and campaign. And then on today, at the Times Radio, he backtracks, saying he paid for it all himself. The question really is 100 Labour activists knocking on doors across America going to make much of a difference, compared to people like Liz Truss and Nigel Farage, who are actually speaking at events and rallies?
Mr. Speaker, finally, I ask the leader to organise a debate on foreign interference in elections. A very important topic that I know concerns all of us. Both sides of the House have criticised this in the past. I understand that over 100 Labour Party staffers are enjoying themselves in the United States currently in the presidential election underway. Now, ministers have claimed this is all spontaneous, all organised themselves, all paid for themselves as well. But that claim appears, if I can put it politely, grossly implausible. Now it's emerged in a now deleted social media tweet or post that the whole thing was arranged by the Labour Party's Director of Operations, Sophia Patel, who posted in this deleted post that there are, and I quote, 10 slots available for campaigning in swing state North Carolina. And she said, and I quote, "We will sort out your housing." So it looks to me like that is being organised by the Labour Party's Director of Operations. Does the leader agree that it is actually damaging to our national interest? And this is a serious point. If the governing party, the Labour Party, are organising interference or campaigning in another country's election, and it will make it difficult for His Majesty's government to deal with the newly elected administration in America if the other side wins, and that will undermine our national interest. Does she accept that by organised campaigning in this way, they are putting party interest before national interest, and will she organise that debate?
Campaigning abroad happens in every election, and people do this in a personal capacity as well, he knows. But I do think, Mr. Speaker, it is a bit rich, isn't it, really, coming from the party opposite. I mean, their would-be leaders have spent weeks debating and arguing over who would vote or who wouldn't vote for Donald Trump. And the former Prime Minister, Liz Truss, went to the Republican National Convention and spent her time there discrediting the sitting president.
I just want to ask a question, Nigel. My understanding is that your flight this year was paid by other people, and you've had £30,000 of support to go to support Donald Trump, haven't you?
Nigel Farage, have we lost communication to you?
Can you just
yes,
repeat
Chris, would you repeat that question?
Repeat what Chris said?
Yes, sorry, Nigel. My understanding, and you'll correct me, I'm sure if I'm wrong, is that you went earlier this year to support Donald Trump in an election year, and you had your flight and your expenses covered, and you've had £30,000 worth of support for you in going to support Donald Trump, isn't that, or have I got that wrong?
Well, you get things very often wrong when it comes to me and money, so we'll be careful.
Well, come on then, clear up.
I went purely at the last minute. I went in a purely personal capacity to offer my support after the first.
But did you pay for your own flight?
No, I hopped on somebody else's plane. They gave me a free lift, but I didn't, which I declared.
Starmer made a terrible decision allowing activists to go to the US. Why was it a terrible decision?
Well, it's not just activists. In fact, we're seeing photographs this morning of Labour MPs who've been in America this year being photographed with Joe Biden. We understand Morgan McSweeney and very senior staff.
You're an MP that's been in the States, stood alongside Donald Trump at rallies.
Yeah, but I paid my own airfare. That's the point. You know, there are two things you are not supposed to do under Federal Electoral Commission rules. One is to have paid-for visits to America if you are a foreign national. And if you remember the advertisement that appeared on LinkedIn from Sophia Patel, basically said, look, you know, come on in, the water's lovely, everything's going to be free.
Well, she said, we'll sort your housing.
Yeah,
she didn't say everything's going to be free.
She didn't say you've got to pay your own airfare, did she? Or anything like that. She didn't say as a staffer you'd have to be on unpaid leave. None of that was said, and that's the problem.
Can I check really quickly, Nigel, have any of your flights to the US ever been paid by someone who wasn't you?
Not if I was going to actively involve myself in the Trump campaign, no. But, you know, when I appeared on stage with Trump at rallies, etc., I've always paid my own way and always been very conscious of what American electoral law is.
And conscious, presumably, about what you say. Let's just listen to you at one rally. I think this was in 2016.
But I will say this. If I was an American citizen, I wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton if you paid me.
As usual, Nigel Farage is just lying out of his backside. And you can see him doing exactly the same thing about his own Reform Party in the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.